Hello, hello, dreamers. We've had our messages go out, and here we are. This time without the echo. I am coming through, and we are going to put on some appropriate music for adventure tonight, and you'll see me shortly. Very good, Merciful. Hello, David. Royalty? No. Damn. Somehow I expected Dungeon Synth to have more royalty-free music, not less, than other genres, but here we are. Good evening, gamers. We find ourselves here gathered to tread the tomb untrodden. For indeed, it is our goal to divide into as many goddamn submarines as possible. No. Oof, it will not show me the chat at this resolution. Yes, to send us where we have not been sent before. We find ourselves here to play a little game. Overpowered. But what is overpowered? Where can you find overpowered? How do you find overpowered? What if you're feeling underpowered at the moment? All these and more will soon be clear. So, bam. Welcome to the Moss Mother's Maze. And to say hello to, I'm gonna have to full screen this for it to look. How do you feel about an extend? Okay, no, yeah, that's precisely the screen real estate we need. And we're going to delve it in a way you have not seen before. Though you have seen many, I assure you, role-playing game modules. We don't want, technically speaking, a browser source would work for this. It wouldn't display the log. So, let us venture deeper into Overpowered. Yes, here we are, with Delvor, with the Aug 23 challenge. So, in brief, and we will rearrange the stream to not obfuscate so much. The duel of the images. I think that we can scale smaller with our little fella here. I think that I'll be able to explain what's happening. So, Overpowered is an app available on web and mobile. It is based around the simple premise that you can break down most traditional adventures into hazards to overcome, enemies to defeat, and the dice math that goes on in this procedure. This is a fairly... There are a lot of universal concepts, numbers, challenge, yada yada, that can be sublimated. This is a challenging bit of game design, though, because you need to create a truly one-size-fits-all. And they've found a unique way to do it. There are obstacles And there are creatures. And there are valuables. We spend the primary resource, overpower, to overcome obstacles and the like when our dice will not avail us. However, we're trying to get valuables and preserve overpower, and we're shooting for our highest score. There is actually a prize for the high score. So, I encourage everyone after watching this to check it out. You can do it for free, just on their website. If you go to technicalgrimoire.com/overpowered, which I'll share here, and the bot should be sharing, but oh well. You'll see compatible with any adventure that uses maps and math. So, this runs from August 1st to September 1st, and you need to submit your score, which down here you will see there will be an adventure log that will generate as we play. And you put all caps, might not matter, AUG23 at the front. And the monthly challenge bot will use the same sort of glitch and upgrade. The upgrade, all D4s roll 4. The glitch, your bot cannot spend dice worth multiples of 5. So, we do not have D10s available to us on this adventure. We have a D19 question mark? Or is that to say that's how many of those? We'll see. We presently have total dice power 44 and overpower of 50. 50 is the cost to teleport to any area as well. Now, this may sound strange, but we can't actually just teleport to any room, and we could teleport right from the entrance to the vault. However, we're not going to acquire a high score that way. So, we are in the entrance chamber. Let's go over what we can do. We can overcome things, we can scan things, and I believe as I scroll through Overpowered here for a second, you can fight. Let's look at our downloads. Overpowered. So, allow me to read to you from Overpowered. You are a brave explorer bot tasked with scouting high threat locales. You must make the area safe for your designers. Capital D. Scanning valuables, targets, and neutralizes all obstacles that pose a threat to humans. Follow the instructions below to manage your dice, accomplish your goals, and achieve a high score. We're selecting adventure, as has been done for us, and this in particular, if you click on the website, has been keyed out. So there is a degree of interpretation saying, well, what's a powerful object? How many valuables are there here? Yada yada. It's been done for you for this challenge. It uses a fun free adventure. So, we start with our dice, and that represents our power. We also start with 50 overpower, which is considered on loan from your designers. Overpower will be converted to your high score at the end of the adventure. So we can save up dice to increase our overpower or spend our overpower. But overall, we want to preserve our overpower wherever possible. We have obstacles and targets. Targets include anything valuable or unique. The obstacles include anything that's going to stop or harm or hinder you, lock your doors, environmental hazards, yada yada. There are stat values assigned to different hazards. There's a process for that that's been handled for us. Once you have selected the stat value, spend enough combined power from your dice banks to exceed that value. For example, to overcome a stat value of 10, you must spend at least 11 power. You gain 1d4 after each obstacle you overcome. All our d4s roll 4. Scan targets in your area. You gain 1d6 for each type of valuable, 1d8 for each unique feature, 1d10 for each powerful object, and 1d20 for each named creature, any living thing with a unique name like Shelley the Snail, Grand Chancellor, or Ned. We gain 1d12 after overcoming all obstacles and scanning all targets in this area. Even if an area is empty, still gain 1d12. Yeah, well, lots of empty dark corridors. Could be our friend after completion proceed to the next area. End your adventure at any time. Click the end adventure button to convert all power into overpower. Stretch 50 to repay your starting debt, and then multiply your score by 100. The web app will calculate all this for you. If you cannot repay the starting debt before your score is multiplied, you'll fail the mission. Submit your final score to the online scoreboard. Alright, so we have a flow chart here. We're going to read the room. Overcome all obstacles in the area. Scan. Gain the relevant resources. And then move forward. So it doesn't look like there's any variability in how much we're spending to overcome, just in what we're getting. But it says all D4s roll 4. Does that mean my 4 is spent? Let's see. Let's begin. We are in the entrance. The floor is a thick carpet of moss strewn with small stones. The bones of 1,000 birds and rodents. A narrow shaft in the roof offers a glimpse of a distant sky. Have exits to the south and east. Well, this room is just marked as begin on our key. So I say we go to 11. As a bot with a scan, we have a foreknowledge of the area. We're trying to build a route that takes us to the vault. Which actually makes 11 no, we have doors. So not necessarily a dead end yet. Necessarily. Room 11. The floor of this chamber is a grid of iron bars. Very interesting. So, what we care about is that we have a slippery grate and one type of valuable. So, the obstacle is a slippery grate. They're actually not pre-valued for us. The slippery grate. I think it's... I'm going to look. I'm so sorry. I have many PDFs labeled overpowered on my computer right now, and I'm not the sort of person who cycles as well between tabs. So, alright. Overpowered doesn't track time. In case track time is required, so it takes you about 10 minutes to complete one area. Random roller, adventure log. Identify obstacles. Overcome all obstacles. Gain 1d4 after you overcome each obstacle. Select a stat value for each obstacle. Part of a stat block, required roll, or damage. If stat value is a range, use the max value. Ignore all stat values below 3 or above 30. Okay, so no, it isn't interpretive. You just grab the number. No valid stats remain, use the default of 10. Okay. So we have the broken clackers. And those are probably a fine bit of power. The grid. So saving throws in this dungeon. I really don't want to screw this up because this is actually like a competent. Like I would have, if this wasn't like a leaderboard situation, I would have just made a call by now. But I really want to be certain that I'm not doing that. Obstacle, slippery, great. One type of valuable. What's the sort of valuable in here? Ignore all stats below 3 or above 30. No valid stats remain. Use the default of 10. Those who slip take 1d6 damage. I'm going to say it's 6. And say the threat is 6. So, let's come over to our bot. We cannot spend a D. We can't spend that. Let's try rolling. Hold on. Oof, wait a minute. Am I actually rolling these? I don't see anything in the adventure log. I spent at least 4 power. Spend 4 power. Spend 6 power. Spend 90 power. Okay, so I can't do 3s or 2s until I spent 4 power. 4s are guaranteed 4, but I think I need that for nudges. I could drastically spend more than I need to with a nat, so I'm going to try 6. Spent 6 power, d6, 6. Was that rolled randomly, or is that just the max size of the die? And do I regain a dice from anything? I think I'm realizing a couple things here. Alright, so. We overcame that obstacle. No, we didn't. Yes, we did. Precisely 6. Obstacle overcame. Very good. There is a single valuable in this room. I am opening up MS Paint, and we're actually going to use that because I need to track what I'm doing here. So all right, 11 cleared. We are going to shoot you out. I'm so sorry. I really expected less windows to be necessary to do this. But it's going to work. We're going to have a fine time. Room 11 is clear. And per our key is one type of valuable. A type of valuable. D6. All right. That D6 filled up to 4. The moment we gain them, they're rolled, and then we know their value. That's very clear. That it's showing. That's why it's showing a 19 on the 20. Yes. Okay. So we carry on. We go to 12. A long chain hanging from the ceiling. What do we have here? Long chains hanging from the ceiling and trail across the ground. Hundreds of them. So many that it's impossible to make out details of the dimensions of the room or whether there are other exits. Quiet, rhythmic ticking and whirring can be heard from within narrow holes in the ceiling. Ironically, our robot will be able to scan and quantify all those things. Moving through the chamber without disturbing the change is impossible. Those doing so hastily take 1d6 damage from the chains, battering them. Which is a potential way someone will get harmed. When the chains are disturbed, 2d20 scuttling clackers descend from the ceiling onto the intruders. They navigate the chains as though they were webs, I presume. Leaping between them with ease, they pursue intruders to the dungeon but will not travel more than 3 rooms from their lair. So, 12 has been keyed as 2d20 clankers obstacle, clanking chains obstacle, 1 type of valuable. So, the chain is a d6. A 4 and 2. We have now overcome the obstacle. So we've overcome the chains obstacle. 2d20 is the number of clackers appearing. For dice multiples, was I supposed to take like 20 times 2 and 40, which would go over the default, over 30 to default at 10? Or yeah, you use the max value. 3d8 equals 24. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Ignore all stat values below 3 or above 30. No valid stats remain. Use default of 10. Okay, so it's another tenor. We cannot use the 10 we roll because you cannot use multiples of 5. That's part of the challenge. That 19 is very useful. We need to use it later. All right, 11. Oh, and I forgot my 12 from completing the last area. And we've now one type of valuable. So overcome them, we got it. We've overcome them, we got it. We've attained a valuable, and we've completed an area. Fuck. And there's no way to clear these duds. Fuck. Alright. So, we mark off 12 from our map. And from the sea of chains, our robot slides to 17. A huge vault door dominates the southern wall. It is a false door and can't be opened. Well, I would imagine we scan that free. Well, 17 is probably no, yeah? Empty room, but even if it's empty, we get a D12. Did that just scrunch? Yeah, it scrunched one of them. Oh, they get pushed off the top, don't they? Clever, clever. I like the Tetris-like element. There's a few ways to do a dice pool, but the mechanicalization of the dice to overpower. Oh, we're at the 10 power. Oh, wait a minute. So I've read this, but it did not hit me until just now. Pushing the dice off the top is how you get overpower. Nice. Okay. So 17's a dead end. We trace back and we wind up at room 24. The floor, we go through all of these halls. The floor gleams dully, free of rust or moss. It is heavily marked by lateral scrapes in the iron running east to west. The trap in this room was designed to be triggered by pressure on the floor, which still has some give to it underfoot. The mechanism has degraded over the centuries and now operates randomly. Whenever a 2 is rolled on the encounter table, the east wall is violently propelled across the room into the west wall, killing anyone inside. Lovely. The resets after a turn, during which the entrance to the rooms are impassable. Counter. Now. The random rollers. I don't believe a random encounter has been called for. When every 2 is rolled on the encounter table, the east wall is violently propelled across the room. I don't believe a random encounter has been called for yet, but let me check. Time in dungeon is measured in exploration turns and combat rounds. An exploration turn is approximately 10 minutes. Use the same one here. It's a default of 10 where necessary. This is enough time to search a map. Check for random encounters by rolling 1d6 every second turn. We should have had an encounter by now. I'll do that now. Five. The distance sound of dripping water. Nothing. Okay. We continue. $24. Pure Moss, heavily marked with lateral scripts the iron. Yes, yes. So the trap here, the crushing wall, it just says dead. The default value is 10. Ooh! Sweet, sweet bliss. Now I want to push these dice into overpower, don't I? No. Overpower is less valuable to me, actually? How goes it? We are, we're in a ways, and I'm trying to figure out if I want overpower more or not. So we have a crushing wall, it defaults to 10, right? I could spend, I realize, right, this dice has the potential to slide over into overpower and get me to 69, which, nice. But also, I don't actually think that I want overpower beyond overcoming my debt. Which I already, well, yeah, the 50 goes back. So I could get exactly 10, or I could overspend by 1. The only reason I would overspend by 1 is because I want to keep more dice in this column to push more into overpower. But I don't think I want to push things into overpower. I believe at this time, I want to spend 10 power. Overcoming an obstacle. All your dice and overpower converge your high score. So sometimes raw dice are more valuable than overpower. It depends. Yeah, I'm seeing that because, of course, there's things you can do with overpower that you can't do with dice. But I found myself more in need of the dice. So I'm keeping the central column from degrading as fast. Alright. And with that, the room... By the way, how many iterative cycles does it take you to decide on things like clearing a room? Is it 12? Yes. I also love the UI element of the visual of it. The dice go into one of the column and you push over and that gets into overpower. It's a very nice tactile feeling from a game design perspective, a UI UX. Nice marriage. And of course, goes out saying, sexy scan lines. They are toggleable if these are not to your preference, but I assure you they are. It still looks good. They're very much to mine. So as you can see, we have a bit of an adventure log, and I have MS Paint up, so I am just keeping track of the rooms as you knock them down. But we've done 24, and the obstacle, the crushing wall is all there is. So we've completed an area, and we're going to mark out 24. And of course, that 10 is it's a dud because of our multiples of 5 rule. So really, it's doing nothing for me in my tray, and I want it into my overpower. Can we reach 21? Yeah, I think I'll wrap around to 21. The gibbering head of a bearded man mounted on a barbed spear, thrust into the iron floor with abominable force. I thought it was abdominal force. I was like, Hua! KO is the only person who has ever breached the vault. He escaped with the spear before the vengeance of the maze caught him. Now he is trapped here, unable to die, racked by agony. Ooh my. His ribs rest on the floor, forming a cage around the base of the spear in which his lungs still flutter and his heart still beats. He will sell the secrets of the traps and the passages leading to the vault in exchange for being allowed to die. Something cheap by removing the spear from what remains of him and claiming ownership of it. The spear is a large melee weapon. While you wield it, you can't be killed by violence. Feature and a curse. Curse: the Mouse Mother always notices the location of the spear when it is removed from the chamber. The GM secretly rolls 1d20. This is the current location of the Moss Mother. Do not roll for encounters again. Each turn she moves one room closer to the spear, taking the most direct route. Her approach can be heard throughout the maze. Alright. Let's check room 21. Named creature KO, powerful object spear. We don't have to overcome anything. We just have named. We have unique. Woohoo. Roll of 1 and a powerful object. Oh, and of course we roll a 10 on the d10. A pleasure. Now, should I roll the d20 and actually track the approach of the dragon? Or is that one of the details that we would overlook in this instance? In the event that we need it, the dragon is literally right next door. Nice. Well, by the time we get here, we need to have had our second random encounter anyway. So let's go encounters. Let's roll 2d6. 2. Nothing. This is the trap in 24 activating. Reach of iron called Heavy Echoing Slam. Alright. I'd like to be in there. What happens? Wait a minute. Now, this is one of the questions about how much interpret, because technically speaking, I guess the bot can't be here, but I'm in 24 when it goes off, killing me. What poor luck if you were actually playing this as a D&D dungeon. I'm going to assume, because the instructions don't say to track the dragon from room 21 in the spear, we're not. We move forward. This is our 5th. 19 will be our 6th. We will roll for encounters then. And did we give ourselves a 12 for clearing the room? No, you're not. Room cleared. We're doing good. Thankfully, narrow missed that 10. We go to 19. Bare walls marked with rust. Ooh, a lovely mushroom art. Is that? Say this got train. And bare walls marked with rust, thick growths of moss and the joins between panels. The ground is moist, peaty earth. Small clusters of fungus sprout from it, pale and white, filling the air with sweet almond odor. They can be gathered in an hour, providing enough for 16 rations. They spoil in 24 hours if not cooked. Very nice. I'm going to guess unique item is what's one type of valuable. Okay, yeah, because it's not unique. It is just valuable. All right, and there's nothing else. We've completed the area. Pushing more into overpower. Very good. So we have now cleared 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's swing around to 23 town. A knight, 9 feet tall, cloaked in rusted armor, studded with razor blades. He has forgotten his name. He rests on a petrified tree stump, sword at his side, body coated in moss. Once sworn to slay the Moss Mother, her spores have eaten his grey matter and now command him to protect her. Enemies who roll under his AC and melee suffer 1d6 damage from the blades on his armor. Punishing. Hello, already half spliced. Greetings. We're playing a little Overpowered, which is a tool for doing solo adventure walkthroughs, which actually, over on Boys from the Baltic Star, y'all sometimes do fighting fantasy style content. I don't know if this is the sort of thing that would interest you at all, but this is all free. And you can enter this contest and such, the AUG23. You can learn more about it at technicalgrimoire.com. Hopefully you cannot hear the car alarm going off in the distance. Alright, stopped. Room 23. So we have this knight here. The rusted knight is our obstacle. His AC is 7. That is the greatest numerical value I can ascribe to the knight. Mentioning the adventure doesn't specify the weapon in any way. This blurb is, as I was just telling Already Half Spliced, a friend from the Baltic Star, is a tool, an app, web and phone app for solo playing traditional style adventures. So, for example, 23, you have just an obstacle here, not an obstacle, yes. And this target of ours, this obstacle, is Rusted Knight. The highest numerical value associated with the knight is a 7. We just spend 7 power. So let's look at the numbers we have here. 4, 5, 6, 7. We spend 7 power. We've overcome an obstacle. We gain a d4. Our upgrade is all our d4s automatically roll up to a 4. When we gain the dice, they roll. With that, we've cleared the room. Now, every 2 rooms, we roll for random encounters in this adventure. Every 2, room clears, yeah. So, that was 23. I don't think we count the entrance because I didn't get a d12. I didn't give myself a d12 for it. Should I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 6 one. Either way, we need to roll 2d6. 5, 6, 7, 8. We are confronted with the Moss Mother. The scrape of stone and heavy metal. Heavy bestial breathing. The Moss Mother. Wandering monster tables. A dungeon, a dragon of living stone, 50 feet from teeth to tail. Her coat is a forest of moss and lichens. Teeth and claws, sharp shards of smoky quartz. She's eternal, nourished by the rock, sworn to guard the treasure at the heart of the maze. When encountered in the maze, apologies, I didn't know this was going to be happening. This is never happening outside the window, but of course, the one time it happens is So she's very large. She has to open and close all doors around her, and she falls behind her and will force us to squeeze the doors. The outside is the true enemy. I see in your bio you sometimes go outside, and you're very brave for it. There's nothing to fucking... That's a carport. Anyway, I can tell because all 23 guidelines PDF is downloadable. It's already pre-keyed for you. I was going to determine the Moss Mother is considered an obstacle, one type of valuable, and a named creature. The highest value of I can ascribe to the Moss Mother is an 11. The defeat of this gargantuan, really beautifully described monster is I spend 11 power. And with 11 power spent, that's an obstacle I've cleared. One type of value, but you'll see these dice are pushing over. I'll explain that again. And a named creature. You'll note all multiples of 5 go gray. I cannot use them due to the glitch. Your bot cannot spend dice with multiples of 5. We have these little bars building up here. It's very nice. Here's my bot. This is a very cool random image they give you every time. Upgrade all D4s, roll 4. You see. These trays, I think they fill semi-randomly. Maybe it's in a sequence I've not yet grokked. But when a dice pushes over, it goes into overpower. You start with 50 of it, but you have to give it back at the end so it comes out of your score. Overpower allows you to do things like teleport to another room, or gain a bunch of different dice, or overcome an obstacle or reroll. You could technically run out of it and lose the game, but I think that it's fairly forgiving because even an empty room is going to give you a d12. Although, due to the way things are handled, there's many obstacles that can become worth it to teleport past. As explained in an example adventure in Overpowered, the PDF. So let's look at this. We've crossed through 23. We've had our encounter. And we hit a 20. This is an odd encounter, so we don't have a random encounter. A wide strip of rust runs from door to door like a patch across the middle of the room. Deep stretches mark the wall and ceiling. The floor in this chamber is fragile and will collapse under the weight of more than one person. The Moss Mother knows and simply climbs around. The space beneath the floor is a 15-foot pit of thick, meaty mud. Make a brawn save to pull free. At disadvantage if more than 6 inventory slots are filled, or if wearing medium or heavy armor. Inventory slots filled suggests to me this is written for a very particular game. There's only particular OSRs use it, so I'm curious. Because I see things like there's not damage on some of the attacks at the night. So I'm wondering what kind of game this is presumed for. I assumed it was an OSR, which maybe it is, but someone who managed to search the mud without drowning would uncover a rotting backpack containing 10 iron spikes, a grappling hook, 20 feet of chain, a pair of emeralds worth 70 pieces each. I wonder if there's 2 little eye holes emptied somewhere. One obstacle, floor trap. One type of valuable. It's the greatest value kind of described as I suppose the fact that it's a 15-foot deep pit. So 12. Ooh. No. Overspending to 16. $15-foot pit cleared. One type of valuable, or a robot fishes out of the drink. A 3. Fair enough. Yeah, I just realized anything but a D4 is going to get a 5. It's out of a 10. Alright. Oh, when we encountered her, I wasn't supposed to get a unique creature. I was supposed to get a named creature. Well, there's no one doing it now, and at least I haven't made a mistake that would give me an advantage, so we'll move forward. I mean, I could hit undo many times, but we're taking them as they hit. And we've cleared the area. I didn't already give myself a area clear D12, did I? Let's check the adventure log. No. Alright. Score of 10,000. We move forth from room 20. And we strike from room 18. Thick bed of moss floor. Climbing the bars of an iron cage in the center of the room. Its bars rise to the ceiling, rusted and beginning to bend, but still strong. A man sits cross-legged in the middle of the cage. His eye sockets are hollow and filled with moss. Thick black veins pulse beneath skin like paper. As he moves through the room, he tracks movement. His body seated but stationary, but his head rotating through 360 degrees to allow his overgrown eyes trained fixed on the intruder. With every twist of his neck, his skin looks like it must tear, but it never does. He will not speak or move while he is caged. Blades part his flesh easily, but do not harm, and he does not bleed or react, simply scooping up handfuls of moss to pack the wounds. Released, he first feeds on the intruders before seeking the moss mother and his vengeance. Attacks twice. Wounds easily become infected unless a successful bronze save is made. Have fun, of course. Yeah. I hope you guys have a good stream. Healing surge which can't be recovered. So the man in the cage is obviously a risk. The highest number I could ascribe to him is that the infection would last up to 12 weeks. Now 10 and a 2 would be perfect, but we have our glitch now, don't we? But an 8 and a 4 will serve. So we've overcome an obstacle, and now the area is complete. That is an even number, so we will need to do, at this juncture, a new encounter, a new random encounter. Let's roll 2d6. 6, 7, 8. That's That's the dragon again, isn't it? Well, remember to properly give ourselves credit after defeating her. 6, 7, 8. Yep. The scrape of metal. The storm of metal. Heavy. Bestial breathing. The Moss Mother hunting the intruders indeed. Very good. An obstacle. One type of variable and a named creature. The highest value we could describe is 11. So. Ooh, again, if only we could have the 10 or the 5. Ooh, we're not in a good way here. That's 11 precisely, though. We've taken her down. We've overcome an obstacle. Gained a valuable. Oh, a 5, of course. Oh my goodness. And a named creature. Oh, thank goodness it's up there. Alright. Alright. Let's slide out and around to 9. Heaps of rusting metal push into the corners of the room, leaving a clear path across the floor between the exits. A thorough search of the junk uncovers a longsword remarkably free of rust. This is Hadratha, Twin Edge, a magic sword that has been in the maze for close to 2 centuries. Intelligence containing this blade has been asleep and is delighted to be woken. Hadratha, when you roll damage, you can exert 1 point of cunning to add an additional damage die. You can do as many times as you'd like on each attack, provided you have the cunning to pay. Sacrificing cunning strengthens Hadratha with the following effects. Goes up to the wielder. Resists being discarded. Thirst for violence. 2 strikes when you attack with Hadratha. Each time you attack with her and you don't exert deal damage, and make cunning save. Hadratha is strong enough to become corporeal. At the time of her choosing, she leaves the blade and becomes a physical form. The blade loses special qualities. Fun. Hadratha given flesh. I don't know that we're going to cunning her up as part of our robot survey. Let's take a look. I suspect that might be how we interpret this. Room 9. Our guide says 1 powerful object. No. We just get a cool object. Boom. Powerful object. Room. Oh my goodness, of course it is a 10. Punishing. Yeah, room 9. Recently dragon, so. We must turn back. 13. Long chains hung from the ceiling and trail across the ground, hundreds of them, so many that it's impossible to make out the details of the dimensions of the room. Whether there are other exits moving through the chamber without... Alright, so we've seen this before. The lone clacker is caught in a snarl of chain near the ceiling. Its blades are bent and its gears turn slowly. It does not possess the violent urges of its kin. No rudimentary intelligence it has been imbued with make it loyal to the one who rescues it. Huh. Cute. Obstacle can change, so that's a 6. So if only I had still had the 2, I'll have to waste 2 of my darling D4s. Obstacle overcome. One type of valuable. Don't roll 5. Well, a 1's something. A 1 is something, and I believe with that we're at an encounter. Pop, pop. Ooh, an 11. Let's have a look. Crackling voices distantly heard, screaming obscenities, nothing. Alright. Frankly, one could do well off the strength of encountering the Moss Mother in this mode. 8. What awaits? The room is filled with a tangle of rusted metal, broken girders, spools of barbed wire, lengths of broken pipes, and snap bars. 3 broken clackers lie beneath the rubble, each worth 100 SP. If I had to guess, this would just be a type of valuable. Room 8. Yes, it is one type of valuable. So, one type of valuable. Valuable type received. Room cleared. It's D12. Alrighty. Pop back out to 4. To 5. Northern south walls are dominated by a pair of gurning faces, devils with snake eyes and slack jaws embossed in the iron. Large red stains of rust spill down in the wall from their mouths. A pillar of stacked iron discs stands in the middle of the room, misshapen spheres of moss, a gate, the size of a skull resting atop it. Type of valuable. The pillar rests on a heavy spring. If the stone is removed, it releases, raising the pillar to 8 inches. Hey, Fangirl Review, we're playing a thing that lets you do solo streams, like solo playthroughs of Dungeons. Jack, thank you for the War Lee. Thank you everyone for coming through. My goodness. The liquid is caustic. Every turn you're encountered with the metal armor reduces the AC by 1 and deals 1d3 damage. Oh no. We call it an obstacle. Let's look at how they've keyed room 5. So we're just going through the rooms. We're spinning our little bot's power and we're getting stuff. Caustic, flood, trap. It's a maximum of 3, yeah. That'd be valuable. So 1, 2. Must spend at least 4 power, but I have the perfect amount to spend less than that. Oh well, and 4. So you overcome it. You overcome the acid with our scanning bot here. Obstacle overcame. This is back and back because you're guaranteed to roll 4 with this upgrade, although we can't roll 10s, you roll glitch. And there's one type of valuable. Well, one with, of course. Of course. Well, we're already here, so we may as well go to room 1. Mounds of scrap metal, twisted girders, and broken armor piled high in the northwest corner. Other rooms block the exit. The exit to the south is barred by heavy portcullis. It can be raised by carriage with a combined brawn 20 or 16 brawn check. Rusted rungs crudely affixed to the south wall climb 12 feet to a wooden platform suspended above the ceiling by chains. A emaciated man hides on it, silently watching intruders from above. Caveness, not to be confused with Katniss, descended into the maze several years ago. His companions were slain by the Moss Mother, and he's been here ever since. He lives off rats in the flesh of his left arm, which he severed and has been eating a piece at a time. He's toothless and often incomprehensible. Hard to chew human meat without teeth. He found the vault but never managed to enter it. He's desperate to leave the maze. Knows the ceremony preserved flesh. Looks like a maximum of 2 for our Dark Souls NPC ass motherfucker. I'm gonna guess this is just named guy rather than danger. No, he's an obstacle, and has the portcullis to consider. A 20 for the portcullis. Ooh, that's nasty. He's an obstacle, and alright. 19 and a 1 for 20. Obstacle overcame. Caveness requires 2, so we'll just throw a 4 at it because I can't suspend a 2. So that's 2 obstacles overcame. And a named creature for D20. Let's go. We're getting that overpowered power. Better than rolling a 5. Alright, so, alright. So let's backtrack, shall we? But first, I believe we've got an encounter. Let's roll 2d6. 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that's the Moss Mother again. And they put it in the middle of the spectrum, so. Yep, the Moss Mother hunting and intrudes the massive stone dragon, which is a really cool concept. Moss growing all over. Our fight results in the Moss obstacle, 1 type of valuable and a named creature. I need to spend 11 to overcome her. I have to give him the 12. I'll burn a lot of different dice. Because, alright, if I overcome the obstacle now, more than I thought this would be second one before I remembered, always 4s. We have 1 type of valuable and 1 named creature. So type of valuable, named creature. Don't be oh my. Important. Remember, dice just have the upward potential. Okay. Back to cleared rooms, back to cleared rooms, back to cleared rooms, back to cleared rooms. So back to 9, back into 10. When the night darts came through the village, they bragged that they would be the world's greatest band of adventurers. When they died in the maze, they did so clinging to one another, desperate to not be alone in their final moments. Now their bodies have fused together what remains of their force and will continue to animate them. They scrabble in the dirt, an amalgamation of sinew and bone with no purpose other than survival. Attack speed time. Slow. Enemies add +2 to agility when rolling initiative. Those slain by the night dart are subsumed into its flesh, increasing its HD and number of attacks by 1, but adding another +1 to enemy agility for initiative rolls. Lovely. The largest number I can ascribe to is a 4, which I believe is the minimum is 3. So, have a dice. Well, let me just check room 10. Yeah. Night darts, obstacle named creature. Overcoming, you getting the 4 back. Named creature. Can't all be winners, folks. Room cleared. Let's go to 7, and we'll have an encounter. A large map hangs in gold frame on the east wall. It depicts roughly 100 miles of countryside. The maze and the village that sits atop it are not pictured on the map. The central feature is a mile-long fault in the earth labeled as the Edge. Those familiar with history may know that the fault was formed when a large meteorite struck ground several hundred years ago. Characters who have heard the story may also know the location of the Edge relative to the maze. The exact details of this are absent from this text to allow you to fit them into your campaign with ease. The map is an antique and worth 600 SP. The frame is worth 8,000 SP. It is 4 by 3 feet and weighs 220 pounds. It has been welded directly to the iron wall. The map has been welded. Gold frame. I guess the frame is welded? I assume this is just a type of valuable or a... 2 types of valuables. Yeah, the frame and the map. Alright. Type of valuable. Type of valuable. Complete area. Very fucking nice. Alright. Room 7 done. Room 6 it is, babe, but we need an encounter first. 8. Obviously, you know, this is just how dice math works. Like 7s and 8s are going to be most common, but this is too fucking funny. Here we go again. I need 11 to defeat the Moss Mother. Exactly 11. I overcome an obstacle when I defeat the Moss Mother. I obtain a type of valuable, and I encounter a named creature. Very fucking good. Alright. Ascending to 6. Ironically, came really close just to finish the maze early on. A contraption of many brass gears stands in the center of the room. A thick crystal lens mounted on its side. A long handle of bone juts out from the back of the machine. A pair of skeletal bodies sits inside, laid crossed and standing at the wall. If the entire working mechanism could be extracted in working order, it would be 20,000 SP. Handle is turned. A thin stream of odorless gas is emitted from a valve between the lens and a small mirror mounted behind it, igniting the glass. Direct light through the lens, predicting swirling kaleidoscopic patterns on the north wall. All the witnesses make a cunning save. Those who fail are compelled to stand and watch, continue to turn the crank, soaking in the patterns and colors, passive and enthralled. Very nice. So it's an obstacle. I don't think the lens is weight. No, it's the obstacle that is the lens. I'm going to call it's the generic 10. Nine one. Whoop. Obstacle overcame. Kaleidoscopic gas. One type of valuable. One unique feature. Three corpses dead for years, limbs and bone, thrown against the wall and claimed by moss. Among them remains a 1 foot, 100 foot Russian chain, a book, the ceremony of enervating dead, and the phrase refreshing vitality, a leather pouch containing 259 SP, an ancient currency, a glass bottle containing a mix of murky lavender liquid, expired potion, bronze saber, take 2d6 damage. I'm going to guess it's a hazard that we're scanning to keep humans from eating. Oh, actually just 3 types of valuable and 1 powerful object. Let's fucking go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's go. Area complete. I do not have a d12 from completing the last stream, do I? I'm going to call that one a loss. I don't want to go back too often. Alright, P1. Encounters are 10 minutes. Every second turn. Oh my god, 1d6 on a 1 encounter occurs. Oop. Knew there was a d6 involved. Alright, so we're not doing the encounter during the descent. Every surface coated in thick moss. Passage 1, door 1. Small yellow balls of fungus sprout, form clumps of dark green moss. Oh my. Obstacle. Portcullis. Pressure plate. Spores. 15 knee deep water. 30 seconds. Say portcullis' number is 15. Brutal. The obstacle is a pressure plate. A generic value of 10. Two obstacles come. Spores. A generic value of 10. P2. The panels in the acid door. East to west, the floor of passage dividing 25 panels, each 2 feet wide. 7 of the panels are mounted on springs. Any pressure causes the panel to deduct 6 damage is dealt. Whatever limb was caught is type of severed. Take a new scar. Let me check. How am I supposed to adjudicate the number that I pick? Just one more time. Part of a stat block required roll or damage. There's not a stat block. There's not a required roll. There's not... No, it is. It's 6. Okay. 2 threes. Pop! Overcame obstacle. Acid door. 23 damage, 6 damage, 6 damage. I think the best number here for them is 6 as well. 2 threes. Another overcome. Another area complete. We've already tested for encounter. It doesn't have more at P3. Oh fuck, a whole other maze. What? North wall is studded with barbed spikes and hums softly. This passage is perfectly safe until door 3 is open, at which point the powerful electromagnet hidden behind the wall, the north wall emerges. All ferrous items in the corridor weighing less than 1,000 pounds are pulled onto the wall. The spikes deal 1d6 damage. A circular maze of deep grooves is carved into the face of the door. A circular maze, a pair of ball bearings in separate channels. Halfway up the left side of the door at the start of the maze. At the top where the maze ends, 2 round holes seem the obvious place to deposit the balls. A small sand timer sits behind thick glass to the right of the maze. Immediately the ball bounds is moved alongside the channel in this maze. The timer is flipped and the sand begins to fall. If the maze is not solved within a minute, it rapidly spins in place. We say the balls are starting position. When the doors open, the magnets of passage 3 emerges. The balls are pulled back to their starting position as the force of the magnet slams the door shut and resists the lock. There's only 20-second time between the door opening and the magnet fully engaging. The magnet remains active for 1 minute. You hand the players a copy of the maze and set a 1 minute timer running. If they successfully find both routes through the maze within the minute, they are able to open the door. If not, the maze resets. Don't set a second timer. Once players have worked out to do, it can be assumed that their characters will need the solution, find the solution to the maze before beginning to move the ball bearings through a second time. This is a very interesting piece of advice. There's a lot to dissect in that, but for the moment, I'm going to say I don't see a distinct value other than 20 seconds. I don't think that's damage or part of a stat block, really, so I'm going to call it a generic 10. A 4 and a 6 gets it. Overcame obstacle, completed area. 1, of course. The vault. A vast space. Inside the door A narrow platform hangs over a 100-foot abyss. A spiraling iron staircase on the eastern edge has broken off the third step. The wreckage of the stairs lie below, barely visible beneath the surface of gently steaming water that floods the ground to knee height. The air is hot and humid, thick with the smell of ooze. In the middle of the room, wrapped in 3 nested cages of thick iron, a monolithic block of machined black metal, 80 feet high and 30 feet wide. It hums with ancient violent energy. It is the heart of a dead star, older than the world itself, sealed here in order to contain its vile emanations. The cages and water that surround it barely suppress the worst of its power. Intruders who enter the cage suffer 1d3 damage every minute, with an equal 2 in 6 chance that this is dealt directly to either agility, brawn, or cunning. This damage can be recovered as part of the rules about exertion, but attributes can't be raised as a result of this damage. Damage to health points can't be recovered while this damage still lingers. The metal is soft and can be cut with a normal knife. Anyone in possession of cuttings from the stone takes the same damage above each day, is worth 500 SP per pound to an alchemist. Each inventory slot can only hold 4 pounds of the metal of the stone. Some characters are associated with their brawn minus the EC of their armor. See page 45 of a dungeon game for the details. Ah. Damn, what a thing to have in a vault. Obviously a very different kind of treasure. Alright. Obstacle damaging aura. Powerful object. What type of valuable? It's 1d3 every minute. I think that is the damage. I think, yeah, both 3. So, spend a 4. And yeah. Valuable. So we've overcome. Valuable. Powerful object. Area complete. Alright, baby. I think that's it. Alright. I think we have successfully navigated the maze. My goodness. So much to say. So this is a really cool module. This is the Moss Mother's Maze. You can find it for free online. The Villalala Ledge, the Lalala landscape, the little entrances, the maze, the encounters. It's a very nice little website you have here that has all this little slide out. So, overpowered. We have a lot of mechanics here. I have 176 overpower, 57 total dice power, a final score of 18,300. 25 things overcame, 3 targets scanned, 18 areas completed, 19 dice converted, 49 dice spent. The first time I met her, she nearly ate me alive. Suddenly, I'm getting doused in some sort of liquid glue from above as the spot is lowering down towards me on its wires. Tiny bots are bubbling out of her mouth and jump down to scan me, and I can't move at all. To finish the scan, she was on me and then swallowed the little bots in the net. She hid away. I always check the ceiling first now, every time I enter a room. An adventurer who encountered this, yes. The random history of encounters done slightly wrong. There's definitely an old school adventure with like Dark Souls flavor to it. Like you gonna fucking die. Congrats, you ended your adventure. What's your final score? So, I haven't hit the button yet. Although I slightly fucked up random encounters. Rather than rolling 1 and only getting them on a 1, I was rolling 2d6 every other time for a time there. And I frequently encountered the Moss Mother, and I am worried that because I spent to 11 to overcome her, but I got like 3 rolls out of it. That I might have been biased towards me. Did you link the fire though? I did not. I think I'm done. So, we've got it all done here. I think I'm going to end your adventure. The final score. Here's the adventure log. So, lots of valuables, lots of areas, lots of other things completed. I would encourage everyone to try and get their own high score, and also to remember to read the encounter section very thoroughly. I knew it's called for 1d6 originally, but every second, I don't know, I got confused. End your adventure with a final score of 1800, 3000. Alright. Bam. So that was my run here with Delvor. And yeah, 18,300. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Merciful Hacker is one of the creators behind this lovely thing. It's been a lovely opportunity with sponsorship. And Moss Mother's Maze, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm seeing 11,000 leading the charts right now. So does 18,300 put me at the top of the chart? We might check some of my moves for validity, but it says quite exciting. I don't think I messed up by hundreds. Additionally, just so you know, everyone, this is running all through August, there is a challenge going on. Top 3 get rewards. You have adventures. You have fun. And there's the high score. technicalgrimoire.com/overpowered. This is a sponsored stream, but I can honestly say this is a really fascinating piece of digital physical game overlap that speaks to a very old tradition of dungeon design and adventure design, and a new school straightforward UI UX that has a unique interaction mechanism with the upstack into the overflow to overpower. I think that Overpowered is a very interesting piece of new media, which is frankly verging on AR, if you think about it. It just, rather than an overpriced headset that you can't actually do shit with or put anything behind a door, making it useless after spending bajillions of dollars for the military to have one. It's actually a really clever piece of gaming. Like, I suspect that many of the viewers of this channel have an adventure just like the Moss Mother's Maze they will never get to play, and that they intend to run. They've already read through. This gets you something out of it. It exists on its own strata, in its own sphere, in its own way. So it's not like you're going to lose the experience of playing it. Yeah, I mean, overall, I would say this is just pretty solid. And I would recommend that you check out Technical Grimoire in general. They have a few of their own adventures and other content on itch, which is, of course, a lovely site. I think I've shouted out everything there is to shout out about our friends at Overpowered, other than their specific adventures, which do deserve a look of their own. But let's paint final. Sure, I'll save it directly to this PC. No. My downloads, because I'm chaotic. Let's read a little bit more of this adventure. The Village. Let's imagine, if you will, that we have an interest in running this adventure for us, for a group, right? And I'm the DM, and I'm often the DM. I've read through Forever DM. I've gone through with my bot, and I've scanned it. And now I want to think about what the world is like, and I know a lot because I've seen all of this fairly fucked up shit, right? Because this is a very dark fantasy dungeon. It was really evocative. I love the design of the Moss Mother. 100% it's a way for me to enjoy all the random adventures on my shelf, so glad you liked it. Yeah, no, definitely. I could tell in a lot of ways that you're an enthusiast for this sort of content, and it comes through because when you work with what you love, it's not that it doesn't ever get stressful or boring or annoying, but you create something that helps you enjoy what you enjoy and spread that joy to others. And I think that is very admirable. The locals know the maze, the treasure said to be held in it, and the beast that guards it. They are well used to it. Heavily armed travelers arriving in town intent on plundering it only to return maimed and traumatized. If they return at all. The location of the maze's entrance is easily acquired. The lock is maintained by the locals, who happily open it for would-be plunderers, who pay for the privilege of 20 silver pieces. That's funny. They're just like, yeah, we got a hole. There's a big old dungeon down there. Maybe a piece of a dead star in the vault, but I don't think they know that. Yeah, 20 silver. I love it. This is like a mini museum in Middle America. Those who pay the toll find the prices in town become much more reasonable. Those who return from the maze having forced entry find there is little hospitality in the village. Yeah, I should imagine. The name and details of the village are left intentionally vague to ease insertion into your campaign world. Yeah, this is this is very much a fantasy anime setup where the dungeon, is below the village. And get in a much more dire and stark fashion than you normally see there. The adventure contains no explicit hooks or reasons for your players to visit the area. If the promise of ancient treasure buried beneath the earth isn't enough, make use of the desires and concerns of the residents on the next page. You know what drives your players better than a text ever could. Not a bad piece of advice. Nor a bad way of thinking about it. Not how I would do it, but I can see, particularly with this sort of an adventure, why you would. John Aran, 42, former adventurer, missing an eye and both legs from the knees down. Once heard a rumor that an ancient powerful blade was buried somewhere in the maze, but his days of spelunking in search of riches are behind him. Jenny McLean, 37, blacksmith, maintains the rate and lock that seal the maze. Last time Delvers returned from the depths, she purchased a broken clockwork spider made of silver, which has been trying and failing to restore to working condition. Glanet Foster, 56, local historian, draws beautiful maps of the countryside and has occasionally paid for partial plans of the maze in the past. He has been collecting legends about the maze for most of his life, and he believes there to be an entrance to a second maze hidden somewhere among the corridors. Ooh. Wonder if that's alluding to the mini maze. Grias Rausk, 46, master distiller. She and her husband, Abonath, make excellent peaty whiskey. There's some peaty earth down below. The stream they drew their water from recently ran dry, and Abonath disappeared somewhere on the moors. We went to investigate the cause. Interesting. I wonder if that's related to the dungeon, because we have lots of peaty earth down here. Water. In the middle of the vast emptiness, there is a hole in the ground marked only by a rotting wooden post. It does sound pretty cool, there. The other entrance, a small stream once flowed into the village but ran dry several months ago. Following the boggy cloug that marks its bed for a day or so leads to a point of low ground not far from the known entrance to the maze. Here the waters of the stream can be found falling through a small hole in the earth, a place where the peat has given way to what lies below. This tight, naturally formed shaft descends 50 feet to the roof of a dead-end passageway to the north of 15. It's far too narrow to be traversed while wearing packs and armor. The body of local man Abonath is wedged tight in the shaft 20 feet below the surface. He is bloated and rotting, definitely dead. His family pays 30 SP to return his remains. Oof. We mourn. Of course, a uniform 10 foot wide, 15 foot high, as otherwise noted. Walls, course, it was a 10-foot square system. Very old school. And ceilings are heavy, iron, thick. The rust, moss grows on the surface, and everything is slick with the moisture. And the floor holds shallow puddles of standing water. Quiet movement is difficult. Steps and words echo throughout the halls. Doors are circular iron vaults, 7 feet in diameter, and mounted in the center of the walls, 4 feet above the floor. They are around 20 tons. When open, they close automatically after a turn. There's no light. For ease of legibility, the map is numbered 1 through 25. Reading left to right, top to bottom. Characters generally enter the maze through the roof at E. The vault is located at V. 25 is the layer of the Moss Mother. Starting at E. It's kind of right to left, isn't it? Starting at E, the solution to the maze is... Hold on. But it says the solution to the maze is E18. But you can't go straight from E to 18, can you? Am I tripping? E18. 22. Oh, okay. I was about to say, this is an interesting inclusion that I think is very worthwhile, particularly in dungeon-style map. Certainly, I don't mean to... I mean, this is already a very beautiful and lovely and provided for free setup, so I don't mean to be critiquing a typo. I would say, in general, I find this idea very interesting, that you let them know, like, hey, you don't have to puzzle through, this is what it is. Because I know for some people that would be the joy, but for others, they'd be like, the pizza's here, you're flipping over the book, you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and, it definitely has runnability vibes. It definitely has getting you the convenience vibes. And this is also just, like, it's a very slick experience. The way the text slides in and fades in is just, like, just enough to show class and quality, but not so much as to distract you. The Moss Mother is a badass creature. A living dragon of stone. Technically speaking, like, she's the good guy here because, when you see what's in the vault, that shit's... Oh yeah, the heart of a dead star with great malevolence barely contained. It's like the devil cube or whatever. The demon sphere. Get your ass irradiated. Clackers are fun, small enemies. The silvery spider friends. Yeah, I think this is a pretty straightforward adventure. Yeah, literally a rise in vibration starts rumbling. You can get radiated on. So, if I were to... This, by the way, is the OG23 Overpowered. You can go download it from their site. But this is just a handout. This is the key I was referencing. It's to some degree, this is an interpretive exercise because it has to map onto, like... Sorry, I had to respond to someone. So, technical war. Oh yeah. How do I submit? How do I submit? I can handle that after the stream probably. It is very good. I'll just throw my submission in there. And this was AUG 23 dot Delvor. And this was, of course, Moss Mother's Maze. I'll have to put the playthrough link in. So I'll put this in after we're done with the stream because I won't be able to link the playthrough until then. But this is truly an excellent. So are these? I've seen a few different bots. Is this randomized at all? Is this like is this just several different sets of bot, and you just get a random one, or one probably I assume keyed to something derived from the name? Because I find the art striking. I think it's fun. It's an interesting aesthetic. There are 20 different bots, and you just have like a 5% chance to get one particular image. They're all very evocative. Not pixel art by Turbo Torben. Yeah? Bot pixel art. Ah, I see. Very nice. Well, looks good. As a pixel artiste myself, I approve greatly. And the scan lines are nice. Yes. So these bars that fill up, I'm guessing you've calculated this for like any length of adventure, because the default one that you showed is like 5 hex adventure. It's pretty straightforward. We obviously got bogged down some counters here, but like a really long adventure, I suppose you could breach 5 bars. And I guess it just fills up to the full color and starts to be like, wow, that's a lot. Because I see I'm only at 2 ticks out of 5 on all of these. And I love this quote too. Sure, I mean, it's a hard thing to figure out, but also, you know, I wouldn't tweak it down too far because, I mean, I think someone posted they had done Lost Mines of Phandelver with it. Well, I guess Goblin Arrows wouldn't really be longer, but if they did like the proper Phandelver, I can imagine there being lots and lots and lots of rooms and obstacles. Depending on the game, the type of the game, you could very frequently have multi-obsty rooms with high numbers. Particularly because in this game, like the ACs are fairly low. Like a dragon is AC 11. But, you know, in 5e, like 10-11 is a peasant. Basically nothing is 3 AC. So they're going to have a higher point tax to get by obstacles in general, particularly if different bespoke types of creature count differently as an obstacle, as I think they would if you're like both goblins and bugbears. So, you know, it's interesting though. I wonder, I'm assuming there's something you could do to set up to get good metrics on that, but I like it. Like the bars were a nice touch. The way that like everything slittered around the red and blue lights of the dice as if they're like a 3D effect was nice. The log is cool. This is a really cool prompt. You could obviously do a lot of fun stuff with, you know, more sci-fi adventures like an RPG stuff, but it's a nice juxtaposition to be like, yeah, you're a sci-fi drone sent into a fantasy adventure. Go figure it out. And it feels like an appropriate degree of remove versus how it would normally be played. And it acts as a good framing device to understand why you're playing the Mass Effect 2 probe minigame on these planets. Which I think is pretty neat. It's some fine John Carpenter side music. Oh, of course. It was good fun. Yeah. Well, I will say, I think you've already got a rock solid foundation, and it's difficult in that things are very interpretive. Like, if I didn't have your guide, I would have chosen things to be obstacles or uniques or valuables or number of valuables differently. So as long as you have one of those guides and everyone's on the same page, I feel like the direct competitive aspect, in a way, bringing back the direct competition of your very ye olde days on these adventures, the con games and such. I think that's good. Yeah, the only place I might struggle to figure it out is like if me and someone else went to the same venture but didn't think that the same thing is two discrete obstacles or one obstacle, you know. But Overpowered is wonderful, and you should all check out Technical Grimoire. They are pretty neat. They do a few things, and it is worthwhile to check out their itch. That's Technical Grimoire, and you may well want to go to Technical Grimoire Games Overpowered. Thank you very much. Yes, great to have you, Merciful Hacker. Do check out all this stuff. We got some free adventures, some free rule books, some playtesting, some one-pages RPGs, some cool books. And yeah, I think it's the Liminal Rustic Infinite Bridge building. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This stuff looks pretty cool. I highly recommend you check them out. But yes, it's a Boeing 747, so I suppose there's no better time than to throw it in, as I feel that I have delivered the full experience, if you will. But thank you all for coming out. Thank you, Merciful Hacker and Technical Grimoire team, for this opportunity. And I'm just going to find if there's anybody agreeable to raid. And, well, actually, alright, so part of me wants to, like, really fast, hold on. Call of the Sea, Kala, Hobby Driju, the Long Sea, documents. Pictures. Okay. If we enter at JA, and whip up. Yeah, I could just make a new bot, right? I could just go to Overpowered app. No. I go to Overpowered. And I type in, red V. Right? Entering at JA. Technically speaking, these would be hexes, but does JA have anything in particular keyed? I won't count it if it doesn't have anything keyed. And IX. And then HA. I think Ha. Secured crash site. No, that's H little a. Capital H little a. So this is actually Ah. I mean, that was also Z. Yeah, beer shooting ridge. 1d4 cash dash. So upon coming there, we'd have a valuable type, and we complete an area. Then went to I don't think there is anything. We would eventually roll an encounter, but before we do that, AF. Ralph's an old man with a sawn-off double barrel shotgun. Ralph lives here. I guess I would consider him a threat, even though he's not supposed to be immediately hostile. The highest ascribed number to Ralph would have to be the 9 AC. So I have to spend 9, right? 7, 8, 9. Obstacle overcome. His gas table. He has a sawn-off double barrel shotgun. I'll call that a. I don't know. The gas station is a unique feature. 6 trashy treasures. That's a type of valuable. I don't know what else I should be doing. A powerful object. No. I'd say that's Ralph's. And then AE, and then you roll at some point. Open road encounters. An 8. Random mobile encounters head straight for them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait. There's 7 now. Whatever. 5. The Red Skull Gang. 3d6 road gangers. 3d6 technically could be the number appearing, could be it, right? 18. So you did 18 them. 17 to 1. 18. Overcame an obstacle. Completed an area. Drive on to the gas go-go. What am I doing? Heavy sec. Acrobatica 9. Yep. Large former gas station. So yeah, I could see how this could apply to, it's very broadly applicable. Here we have our Delvor. This is the one with the adventure logs. This is the one we're keeping. And yeah, I'm gonna punch the raid. It was great to have you all, dreamers. Until next time. My other computer over there is taking a second to bring up Twitch. So I might handle it through here. Keeping it muted. Hey, Tabletop Anthologies is live. We're going to go say hello. See you on the flip, dreamers.